Nyasi anyajo kusanya gi daktari jakogero thumo doko kitanyono gi mor kawelo yoro budha anyago pande nyar jona thuma nyono gi nyadhi biela nyono gi nyasi anyajo kusanya gi daktari jakogero thumo doko kitanyono gi mor kawelo yoro budha pande nyar jona joluwa onagi ng'amariek mokalo pimo ng'ama loyo nyakwara mogi to en ng'a joma loyo jokanyanam to gin ng'a joluwa onagi ng'amariek mokalo pimo ng'ama loyo nyakwara mogi to en ng'a joma loyo jokanyanam to gin ng'a wuotho golo barel gazel wakadho weche madongo dongo jomoko chomo Sudan moko chomo Uganda wan wadonjo Kenya e tiend nam lolwe jomoko chomo Nyandwat moko dhi ugwe jomoko dhi milambo moko dong imbo Siaya dongo tingo nagi Migori bendo tingo nagi Homa Bay tingo nagi Kisumu chunyo nagi Jomoko pogo nagi nango Ango mupogo ne joluo Paro mane maungo Mudwaro pogo nagi Kareli bambade miwa pogore nango Wane joka ng'ata chiel Ikukethari uroko nagi Moko pogo nagi nango Ango mupogo ne joluo Kareli bambade miwa pogore nango Donge wan joka ng'ata chiel Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan joka ng'ata chiel Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan nyikwara moga jua Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan nyithi nyar nam Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan joka ng'ata chiel Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan nyikwara moga jua Kikukethari uroko nagi Wan nyithi nyar nam Kikukethari Kamiel ne wamielo kanyakla Nyatiti ne wagoyo kanyakla Orutu ne wagoyo kanyakla Kikukethari uroko nagi Katugo ne watugo kanyakla Ajawa ne wagoyo kanyakla Ajua ne watugo kanyakla Kikukethari uroko nagi Ngone ne chiemo kanyakla Jawe ane waloso kanyakla Lwenje wane wakedo kanyakla Kikukethari uroko nagi Ne wamielo kanyakla Payo kene watugo kanyakla Ajawa ne wagoyo kanyakla Kikukethari uroko nagi
Wow. Wapi makofi, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing. Always amazing. Nyakusa, Gabi, and the rest of the crew. Right about now, we want to watch the second case study video from Siaya. So, our technical crew, opinion tika nini nego lights go kika ndo cha cha cha. Alafu tuendelea haya. Video number 2 is Siaya County. Karibu sana. Sijui kuna lights zingine pale nyuma tena hizi ziko overhead. Hebu jaribu light nyingine pale. We are trying to fix the sound, so don't worry, don't worry. Wapi makofi jamani. That second case study from Siaya brings us to the second panel discussion. And the discussion panel will focus on drivers, actors, interventions and solutions and or recommendations for ending transactional sex for fish and gender-based violence. To constitute this panel, allow me to welcome from Ngege Beach, a fisher folk, Christine. Wapi makofi ya Christine anapopanda juu. Christine, kuja na maji yako, manake hapa inakuanga moto kidogo. Wapi Christine? Christine? Ah, there she is. Wapi makofi kwake, and a big round of applause. Joining us online from Tanzania, Melissa. A round of applause for Melissa. Our technical team, I hope that will be arranged. Thank you. Let's hope it will be. And the third, policymakers and Serikal. Allow me to welcome the Chief of Ogenya. Wapi makofi ya Chief anapoenda Serikal. And finally, a young person, Boniface Nyandeje. Wapi makofi ya Boni anapopanda pale juu. Boniface wapi yeye? You can sit anywhere. Ngata moido. And to moderate this wonderful panel, allow me to welcome the very able Professor Philip Onguny. Wapi makofi ya Philip anapokuja moderate hii panel. Thank you. We are waiting for Boniface. Boniface? Ah, ndio huyo Boniface anakuja. Asante sana, Chief. Prof. Thank you. Haya. Hii mtu yote atapewa tu kwa tayari unachukua na unajibu. You can sit anywhere. Haya. This seat's owner is in Tanzania and will join us online. Let us hope. Ah, there she is. Ah, Melissa is ready. Thank you. Haya.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that we are full, but we still have some energy for engaging discussion. So I hope hamtalala sana saa zile tunaongea. Okay, so we have 4 panelists today. Christine, Melissa, our chief, and also Boniface, but I'm just going to give them 1 minute each to introduce themselves, probably if we start with Christine.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon again. Christine Otieno, Ngege BMU Fish Trader.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ngoge Boniface, I'm from Angalo Mabi County, Youth Representative.
Asante sana.
Thank you, moderator. Good afternoon. Good after lunch, all.
Good after lunch.
Confrence Nyandeje, Chief Kanyagwal, where Ogenya Beach is. Thank you.
And Melissa, you have the floor. Just unmute yourself and then you can introduce yourself. Melissa, just unmute yourself and then you can introduce yourself. Can you hear us, Melissa? I think we are just going through a small technical problem, a sound problem, but is this connected to the Zoom, the sound? Hi, Melissa. I think it's a connection. Melissa, if you could just start over because you cut off.
I used to work with the Kibbalini Women's Rights Organization, and I was very familiar with their program, although a lot of it I kind of took a step back and just observed, and then did some training with some of the staff members and researchers. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry, I see that I cut out. So I guess I'll start from the beginning.
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Melissa Wales, I'm the executive director of Texas Institute, and I lived and worked in East Africa, mostly in Tanzania, for about 8 years. I speak Swahili, and it's very nice to be here back in Tanzania again. I'm only here for a month, but I was visiting with some colleagues from Kibbalini as well. So Kibbalini is a women's rights organization that is dedicated to the prevention of gender-based violence. And Pegasus Institute is a Canadian charitable organization that is focused on education surrounding the interconnecting themes of mental health, peace, and environmental sustainability. So these themes are very connected, and as we take a multi-dimensional approach to addressing transactional sex trafficking within different communities, I think that the background within both Pegasus and Kibbalini, when I'm wearing different hats, again, from my background in Kibbalini, it works, it fits a multi-sectoral approach to working with communities to come up with innovative solutions for change within their own communities. I didn't know if you wanted me to talk a little bit more about the actors or the intervention strategies right now, or if we're just
It's just for the introduction for the time being.
cut out a little bit.
It's just for the introduction for the time being, but I'll ask the questions. Okay. So for this panel, I think you've had the research. I provided the introduction, the overview, some of the things that we were interested in learning more about, and some of the findings as well. Bearing in mind that there are still some analysis that are ongoing. I heard some questions about different perspectives, frameworks, and all that, but we can talk more about them maybe later on. But allow me to start with the 4 thematic areas. So tumeongelelea vitu 4 leo. Ya kwanza kuwa vitu ambavyo vinasababisha hizi, so those things that are seen as drivers. So tutaongelelea hizo kidogo, and then tutaongelelea mambo ya actors ama stakeholders, watu ambao maybe wanahusika na hii vile wanaweza saidia, and pia interventions. So interventions would be more like I don't know how to translate interventions in Swahili or Dholuo, but just vitu ambavyo tunafanya ili hata kama ni government or others are helping with, and hizo ma recommendations as well. Kama tunaweza ziongelelea, we can talk about recommendations about that. I think Melissa can understand all those 4 thematic areas as she also speaks a little bit of Swahili. So let's just start with the drivers. I think what we are learning from the discussions that we have, and also from the findings, from the dialogues zenye zilifanyika, vile walirudi huko kwa beaches, tunapata kwamba some of these drivers, vitu ambavyo vinasababisha hizi maneno, are poorly understood, right? Wengine hawazielewi vizuri, but we need to change the mindset, right? But first of all, inafaa tuzielewe ni nini hizi. So just I'll go around and just ask, what are those drivers that yenye mnaona kama maybe watu hawaelewi vizuri yenye ina continue to kusababisha hizi? So maybe tukianza na maybe the chief, nini unafikiria for instance watu hawaelewi vizuri in terms of vitu ambazo zinasababisha hizi, because we also have to understand those.
Thank you, moderator. I'll start by saying that we have to identify the causes, and then I'll explain before I move to what people are not understanding. Now, majorly, when we go around this menace, as I may term it, we have, I can put them in three categories, the main root cause. One, I can say we have a scarcity of fish. Two, we have poverty. Three, we have lack of awareness. So to start with, you will realize that the scarcity to start with, scarcity as a major challenge leading to sex for fish. You realize that the customers are there. We have climate change that is now forcing the fishermen or the crews not to get enough fish. And we also have environmental changes due to climate change. We have the water hyacinth making this fishing industry not to be viable as it was before. So I may say, for us to respond to this scarcity of fish, we may have the following interventions. One, we can have the ponds, we can have the cages, we can embrace the value addition, and because we have the climate change more so, if we are having the policies which we were talking of, there must be a policy that is touching on climate change. And we have even a flood menace making fishing industry to be a problem. How can this be dealt with, and how can it be solved for the researchers also to consider that? We also talk of lack of awareness as also a major cause. You know, earlier, even the speakers that talked before, we were talking of the financial institutions that can aid the problem. But my worry was, are the people on the ground aware that these institutions are there, how to reach them, and when to reach them? So we have also bureaucracy on the policy that we have, because we have a long and lengthy ways of reaching these institutions, whether they are there. We as the actors, we do sensitization, but you will realize that after sensitizing these people on the ground, you have barasas, you do whatever, and at the same time, when now they want to start looking for this financial aid, it will take a long process. Some will leave the process on the way. So this lack of awareness, we should have an approach which is multi-sectoral, where the NGOs and whoever also help in this awareness. So because I believe power is in information. Now, when we talk of poverty as a challenge, you know, we cannot just left it that it is poverty. What is causing poverty? How can we deal with the poverty? What's around this poverty to this? We realize that from the previous speakers that some people are having money, but to get fish is a challenge. So it is poverty come lack of knowledge. And some have no money, that's where they now involve the boy to get them a fish. So it is vice versa. So you will realize that the poverty is caused of lack of training. So people resort to, some people have training, some people are not having trainings. So some people resort to fishing industry as an alternative or as last resort. So you realize that when you have this vocational training, the people are trained on other factors that can aid them not only to ensure that only the way that they can survive or get their livelihood is only fishing. I believe can also help. So even on the leadership, of the BMU, there are some things that were put forth here by the able secretary that was sitting on the same chair now sitting. But you know, this on the ground, are they practical? The practicability of what we was saying here, is it there? So that is something so lacking. And I would recommend that we have these booklets. They should be accessible if they are there. The guidelines and the bylaws, if they are there, they should be accessible to people who want to peruse over them.
Maybe tutaingia hizo interventions na others in a little bit, if you can just summarize a little bit.
Let me stop there.
Yeah. Asante.
Yes. Good afternoon, people. Yeah, I think to the drivers of this menace, that sex for fish, there are very many, but we should narrow this to the major cause of this menace. I think it's poverty.
Okay.
And everybody, we cannot just say we are poor without working. Even the Bible is written that no, somebody who does not work should not eat. So we should encourage our people to look for alternative source of income. For instance, we are blessed, we have lakes. We will encourage our people, they can start tree nursery, planting, irrigation, and many other things. Then if we go to another drive, this gender imbalance, I don't think it is a major problem, because wherever I'm coming from nowadays, many women, they are boat owners more than even men. So that one should not be taken very big consideration. Then lastly, let me say dwindling fish stock. So this one, we need the government to help us, because many people, they have ventured into illegal fishing. That has led to shortages, and these are leading to such a menace. So I know I've talked of these drivers. We'll continue.
Good afternoon, everyone. If I may say this, drivers for this sex for fish or fish for sex is that you may find that a woman can just wake up in the morning and go for her daily income, to look for her daily income. When she goes there to the beach, you may get that fish. There are not enough of fish. So when she goes there, she will be bribed, and that will force her to let her use her body to get the fish. On the other hand, you may get that the boat owner will take the advantage. Now that I'm the boat owner, you have to ask me anything, or you have to reach me before you go to, we call it kapera. You go to kapera to take the fish. So I'm the same. The other thing is power. Unaweza pata mtu ako kwa power kama chairperson. Atasema wewe mwenyewe ufai kuwa hapa, ama ufai chukua samaki hapa, ama ufai kuwa mwanabiashara hapa. Sasa ili wewe upate kufanya biashara na sisi, lazima tukutumie. In short, lazima unipe hiyo kitu ndio utapata samaki. Sasa unapata mwanamke anaingia kwa hiyo kitendo, ama anaingia kwa hiyo temptation ndio apate samaki, arudi nyumbani alishe watoto. On the other hand, unaweza pata lack of capital. Wanawake unaweza pata anafanya biashara lakini hana capital na inatosha. Sasa itabidi aende kwa jaboya ama atafute jaboya ndiye apate hiyo pesa ya kuchukua samaki, ndiye aende kesho pia afanye hivyo, watoto wapate kukula. Sasa tunaweza ongea na government waone jinsi ya kusaidia wanawake, kama wanaweza leta SACCOS, wanawake pia wadogo, vijana, yani wanawake miaka youth, kama wanaingia kwa biashara ya samaki, ndio wasipotee sana, wajaribu sana, watafute jinsi ya kupata pesa, ama wapate hata loans yenye iko na small interest, ndio waendeleze biashara yao, wasitumike zaidi. Asante.
Yeah, thank you all for those quick remarks. Melissa, this is just for you, and it still revolves around the core drivers of transactional sex proficient and gender-based violence. And I think the discussions before and what we've seen and discussed here is that there is a systematic normalization of these practices, and this is one of the major ones. I know you've worked with similar organizations in Tanzania, but I was just wondering, how can we address the systematic normalization of these practices to help our men and women move away from these practices, or if they still engage in these practices, they are a little bit safe. Melissa. You can unmute yourself, Melissa, if you heard us.
I see the question is how can we address the systematic normalization of the practices for people to move away from them? In my experience, again, as more of a learner and observer, in my time here in Tanzania with Kibalini and in my other work surrounding gender-based violence in different contexts, I find taking an approach that involves a long-term commitment that includes an organizing body that is willing to continue the work and to work directly with communities right at the community level. So that includes working with schools and working with institutions, working with the police, working with the law, working with beach management units, as we've already talked about, working with youth and community leaders. So in the Tanzanian context, that would be street leaders or street chairpersons, including healthcare workers in the process of change, and looking at innovations for change, focusing on resilience and focusing on solution focused approaches. When I worked with Kibalini, multiple approaches to work on moving away from the normalization of these kind of practices, as well as gender-based violence in general, by continuing the work, working with, and they organized dialogues, community dialogues, for example, and didn't just have an event here and there, but they consistently engaged and events, public events. So when there was a holiday or a big festival, they would join in and they would recruit a critical mass of community members that they would work with and train. One example is the change makers approach, where it was mostly youth that taught each other and rallied against gender-based violence and forms of gender-based violence. So this could be applicable to transactional sex for fish as well, and start with young people and youth, and also include systems that are already functioning. They branched out to training police, individual police stations within the community. They even had gender-based violence desks. Eventually that were developed, for example, within police stations. They worked really closely with healthcare workers who often encounter people who have experienced gender-based violence, and religious leaders as well, since they are so important in the community. So in summary, I think it just takes a long-term approach with very committed groups of people who can champion within the community, and who are able to talk about stigmatized topics in a way that suits the context. So, for example, instead of saying something like transactional sex is wrong, for fish is wrong, then you would ask questions or tell a story and ask in a community dialogue, for example, do you think that this is the most beneficial for the community? Other ways that Kivulini often took approaches to addressing gender-based violence, in which we do a little bit through Pegasus as well, or some of our partners do in their work, are looking at more traditional practices that actually support moving away from these practices. So what within these localities, what traditions or historical traditions, I should say, existed in the past that prevented some of these practices, and then really highlighting that and teaching the community through different forms that are accessible to them. They use TV and radio a lot, and it's just that consistency in messaging from multiple actors within the community, and really getting people from their own communities to speak about it and rally and talk.
I think Melissa is frozen, but I think we've heard some of the interventions.
So working with communities, but also making changes to laws at different levels, and really working within systems.
Okay, thank you, Melissa, for those remarks. And I think there are concrete ways in which we can address the normalization of these practices. But I'd like us to move now to the actors, stakeholders, let's just call them. How do we make all stakeholders involved understand that this is actually a collective responsibility? Because it's becoming more and more evident that this is not a community problem alone. It's not just the government that should be involved. But how can we really make people understand that this is a collective responsibility? We all are responsible for this. So let's start with Boniface. Boniface, and then, yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. We have two Boniface in the panel. Yeah.
Okay. Well, replying to your question, can you...
Yeah, so how can we make people understand, tunawezaje kuhakikisha kwamba kila mtu anaelewa hii problem kama collective, sio tu wavuvi wenye wanahusika, sio government tu peke yake ndio inafaa apate solutions ama zingine. So kwa sababu kupata suluhisho ama kupata solution hapa inataka sisi wote to involved in finding these solutions.
So for us to enable everyone to know the problem, I think whatever we should do, we should involve all the stakeholders. Like there we have fishmongers, yani fish sellers, boat owners, and youths around the area. So whatever we can do, we should be having some outreaches to teach our people about the menace, the importance of taking care of yourself, because this thing has led to very many deaths around the lake. So what we should do, the government should implement some laws that will govern each and every person in the lake. Secondly, what we can do to these women who are vulnerable, like fish sellers, these people who sell fish for sex. Let's have a channel or a way we can empower them. For instance, young women who drop out of school while they were young, they should be regenerated into technical schools to get technical knowledges, so that that one will help them in getting another alternative source of income to help their families. Then secondly, to the boat owners, I think we all know this. If we can put compulsory HIV testing in the lake after testing somebody, I know wherever you will get your result to be negative, this one will motivate you not to redo whatever you've been doing, and this one will curb the menace. That's all I have.
Thank you, Boniface. Christine, and then Boniface again.
Haya, asante sana. On replying on your statement or question, ili tujulishe kila mtu ama kila mtu aingilie kati ya hii tendo ama hii jambo, tunafaa tuunganishe kila mtu pamoja, as in all boat owners, stakeholders, fish traders. Tunafaa tuwe na something like training. Tunatengeneza siku moja ama siku mbili for seminar, ili tuweke tu kwa beach moja ama kila beach. Tunawatembelea, tunawafunza jinsi ya kujilinda ili wasiingie sana katika jambo hili. La pili, tunaweka kitu kama tunaingilia mambo ya testing. Tuna test watu ukishajua hali yako, ndio sasa unajiadhari. Alafu wanawake wawe mwaminifu sana, hata kama wanaenda kufanya biashara, wawe tu wanafanya biashara, watosheke na kile anacho ama anachokifanya. Ngine, sisi kama boat owners, we should not take advantage of the fish traders or any other person or any other gender, female. Kama namalizia, watu kama fishmongers pia wakiwa wanaenda kuvua, hata wakipata samaki wasichukue advantage ati sisi ni fishmongers. Sasa usipo nifanyie kile nataka, utapata samaki. Sasa we should all take care of each other, tujiadhari. Hiyo tu.
Thank you, moderator. If I got you right, the question is, when I simplified it, how to make the stakeholders come together.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I believe the change of mindset. And this change of mindset will end the blame game, where somebody will say, I'm the chair of the BMU, I'm the control of this, so you chief sit aside, I finish this issue first, then you will come and get to where I've reached with it. So when each and every stakeholder will have a clear role to play in this menace, I believe we will achieve some objective. So I was just calling upon, and I will just echo what the speakers have just mentioned, is how to make these different stakeholders, how to make them come together, and each and every person to be enlightened on his or her role. This can be done on the lakeside or on the beaches. Each stakeholders, even an NGO like this can organize a big meeting at the beach, different stakeholders to come together and people to teach each other on his or her role. That's what I can say.
Asante sana. The panelists, Melissa, if you wanted to add something before we can move to the next set of questions about how do we make this collective responsibility for everyone.
I think taking a look again at of the traditional values, coming from a Tanzanian perspective, for example, I think explaining people the concept of umoja, which is probably similar in Kenya, and that unity in the community is the foundation of collective responsibility. So when we have unity in the community, everybody benefits. Situation with transactional sex for fish that has so many actors involved. Change since it infiltrates every part of society in some way. Taking a look at concepts such as umoja and unity and traditional values that really support collective responsibility. Thank you.
Kama tuna shida kidogo na hizi mitambo, but I think everyone can hear us okay. Let's move to some of the interventions, because I think this is where we can also learn from some of the things that have been done and some things that we may find to be more helpful and useful. Interventions ni kama vitu zenye zimeshafanywa, zenye hatuoni kama maybe wanafanya, ni nini hizo. So just as a first question, and I think we can just go around, what kind of interventions do you think would have the most impact for the communities? There are so many interventions I think we've talked about, but if you were just to identify a couple, ni nini hizo, based on your context and different places where you work, ni nini hizo zinaweza kuwa na like a meaningful impact?
Okay, according to me, the interventions that can be done to reduce this Jaboya problem, I think this one should go to our BMU chairs. So before registering anybody in your beach, there should be thorough vetting and knowing wherever the person has come from. I know this one will reduce this, and we know the background of everybody who has been registered. Then secondly, another intervention that should be done, I talked of it previously, and I think I should be added there. The thing of let me talk of alternative source of income. Let's encourage our people not to fight for this for only lake. Let's have other alternative sources of income. Let's encourage them to use lake even for irrigation. Some can go for those tree planting, and other this we have water weeds. We can also innovate and use them in making buckets. So let's encourage that.
Asante sana. If I may talk on things that can you come up again?
Nilikuwa nauliza tu kama kuna interventions ambazo tunaweza ona kama ni muhimu sana. Kuna interventions mingi yenye wanafanya, organizations zingine wamepeana boats, but tunapata kwamba hizo boats za zingine zimeharibika, hawawezi kupata hizo mapato zao. Sasa kama kuna government wana intervene ama NGOs wengine wana intervene, ni nini ama interventions gani unaweza ona kama ni muhimu zaidi maybe kuliko zingine ili reduce hizi practices? Yeah.
Mi kwangu naona tunafaa tuwe na trainings. Youth should be trained on some skills apart from fishmongering. We should go for training as in coxswain, so that when you go to Dunga Beach, you will be driving the boat for just touring, something like that. Then another skill, youth should be empowered on how to make things like let me say carpentry. In short, all youths or any other youth should not just think of the fishing along the lakeside. And again, women should be empowered on many things, not only being fish traders, but also make money through fish catching, things like that. More so women, because you may get that women are not empowered on fish catching. So government should come out with that mind and train women to get empowered on that, so that we should not rely on fish trading as in going to beach, take the fish to the market only. We should own our cage. People come and collect from us too. Thank you.
Asante sana. Boniface.
Thank you. First and foremost, I'll say that when you want to help somebody, you have to change his behavior. That is the first step. So why behavior change? We have said that due to this Jaboism, it has led to death. It has led to HIV prevalences. So I believe under this, we can have state talk and health talk, and we should have also financial literacy, because maybe as it has been put forth, there are some people who has money, but how to use this money is now the problem. And there are those people who can have other ways of getting money and they are not aware of. So under my point one is behavior change, to ensure that there is a state talk and a health talk to cover the menace of HIV prevalence under Jaboism and death that may arise due to unfaithfulness between partners. Another item under that is to reduce the power of the Jaboya. Jaboya is so powerful in these beaches. So if we can have a way of reducing this power, so you can have money, but you have not sweet talk to the Jaboya, you still not get the fish. So under behavioral change, we should look in a way of reducing the power of Jaboya. We identify another problem under this as the scarcity of the fish. So here we can look for alternative livelihood, how we can empower these people. Here is where we were talking of not everybody should be a fisherman. We can also have agriculture. And we also ensure that if this fish is scarcity, if we involve value addition, other people will get indirect labor or over the same for this fish. So we can also enhance the value addition to curb this menace of fish scarcity, which is bringing the chaos. Also, apart from value addition, as my friend and the sisters put it, if we can now venture into the county government or the national government, NGOs can venture into cages, fish ponds, and these somebody was saying that women can also be fishermen. But me, once I was a fisherman, and I know the implication of fishing. I'm not biased or not egocentric, but I believe they are saying that what a man can do, a woman can do best. But in this fishing line, I don't believe. Spending overnight in water, this point.
Thank you very much for all these interventions. Maybe Melissa, I'll give you the last word before I open the floor to the audience, if they have some questions, and then we can just wrap it up. Melissa, if you have the yes.
I'm sorry again if I'm not hearing others so much and if I repeat, but it's just because I can't go ahead. Or sorry, I can't hear so much. But I think taking a look at things and continually talking about transactional sex for fish and gender-based violence as structural power imbalance and structural issues, with at the same time utilizing individual stories. I found that in the work with Kivellini, that was the most impactful. So for example, in a community theater play during a festival, that gender-based violence would be talked as not in a blame type way or an individualistic way. It's more so structural issue, but then they would utilize individual stories that were either fictional to really make people empathize and understand. In addition to that, having women and girls at the center is important, but not putting the full burden on them. Some others have mentioned and including men and boys as agents for change and community advocates who speak against toxic masculinity and practices that are harmful. And then looking at establishing those community mobilization networks where you have committed change makers within each group, from women's collectives potentially within the community all the way up to the government level, who continue to advocate on the issue and continue to follow up as well. And then making those who are involved in the larger systems accountable somehow. So thinking about how do we hold institutions accountable for prevention of transactional sex for fish and gender-based violence. And then again, taking a look at ways to economically empower women through maybe women's collectives where they can share loans, linking them with financial institutions, getting financial institutions involved with specific women's and young girls specific financing opportunities, training, financial training and legal training on rights as well, and training for women and different opportunities for alternative careers. So I know that's a lot, but I was trying to say it in some way. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Maybe we can give a round of applause to our panelists for all that. But now I'll open it to the floor. If I can take maybe three questions. You can just, there are a lot of questions.
Thank you so much. My name is Dr. Glenn Joe Oro. I'm a researcher, a microbiologist from Stada, Kenya. I'm a innovation department member, and I have a quick question. Despite the fact that the main issue that we are tackling here is eutrophication, which actually leads to the scarcity of fish. For those who don't know, maybe who might have forgotten, eutrophication is a big deal. This is the growth of these seaweeds that we are talking about that leads to the scarcity of these fish, right? So, and the obtaining power that the fishermen have acquired, we so called the Joboya. They have obtained a power of the Karl Marx theory that states that the power is in the hands of the capitalist. Under Karl Marx theory, you will realize that it's actually what's happening right now. These Joboya people, they have kinda obtained this power, this power that lets them control the whole system of the fish industry. And so by saying that, I would also like to maybe talk about
if you could just go straight to the question, please,
Okay.
just for the interest of time.
Okay, for the interest of time, I think that for the interest of time, let me say this. Yeah. So my question is, do you guys think that it will be possible to maybe deal with this sex for fish thing once and for all by main thing, maybe imposing taxes on the fishes that the Boya people are getting, since we have actually realized that the Karl Marx theory is the issue here. Would it be possible maybe to take the power back from them? So, remember that if we could do this, it means that we could maybe make them sell this fish instead of giving it freely. Remember that if you are getting something through buying it, you will need money next time to also purchase it. It will be like for them to maybe enter the fishing grounds, they will have to pay something to the government, and through paying it, it means that they cannot acquire the fish without removing the money. So it will not be easily given out through sex, and maybe combating this issue of sex for fish. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. You asked and you
My people,
kind of
are we
responded.
in a scientific conference here or in a just a...
Asante.
So thank you so much. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Flavia Vivian. I'm a theatre producer, a communication professional, and also a community developer. Let me go straight to my question. I loved, there's an aspect of theatre that Melissa's brought in. And I believe this conversation is very timely for us because I'm part of a creative group. We are staging a play called The Price of the Catch, which is in relation to the transactional sex for fish. And I wanted to ask, how can we deliberately incorporate creative industries and community artists specifically as a response strategy to this conversation? Because I believe art has a power of conversing. I've seen people say, let's create awareness and let's educate our communities. We have seen the play that has been done here by the Winam Creative. It's a very educative play, right? So I'll suggest rather, I'll recommend us to also think and explore other ways to responding to this, and specifically creative ways. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. My name is Francis Odhiambo Mungo, and as you saw me there, I'm an artist also. And for me, I have few concerns, around 4, and I'll be very fast with them. Number 1, we've talked about so many things, but for me, I look at it in terms of the reality on the ground. And my first reality is this on the issue of sustainability. We can talk about, we can have art thing there, we can do blah, blah, blah. What about the sustainability that will ensure that this thing does not happen? And I want to say this. I happen to participate in one of these research or data collection on TSF in Donga and Gege. And one thing I came to realize that actually there were no CBOs. There were no CBOs existing in some of the pitches there that could continue with this kind of work. So I was wondering, is it possible that these young people who need empowerment, can you form something like a CBO there and to get those kind of training that you can also continue with empowering others? Number 2 is about behavior change agreement. I've heard people talking about policies, and guidelines, but what about between the community and the beach owner, the BMU, the committees within the BMU? So for me, I'm suggesting or I'm requesting that let us have that agreement, just like in the environmental world, we have what we call conservation agreement. That is between the community themselves, rather than waiting for the government policy to come and help us in here. It is us who can come up with an agreement within our community, within our beach, that really guide us, that whoever break it, then you face the consequences. Last but not least, when I was doing some interview, and they were saying that health centers are not by, there are no health centers around whereby mtaka mtu aenda fanye nini, aenda fanyie test ya HIV, sindio? So it is very, very important that also as we move along, let us think about this, so that at least people can be able to access this health center, because wengine walikuwa nasema zinapatikana mbali, sasa hawezi kuenda, so they don't care. So it is very, very important to have this health center within the beach, so that I think people can get health services like VCT. Thank you very much.
Are there, just we take one more? Okay, go ahead.
Jambo. Jina ni Vitalis Otieno. Mimi nina swali tu 2 au 3.
Just one.
Moja, ili swala la Jaboya ilianzia lini? Ilianzia lini? Juu tunaweza ongea hapa mpaka usiku, lakini ni jambo ambalo lilianzia some 40 years back, na tunataka tutatue na 3 days or 1 year. Second, wale watu ambao wamefanya utafiti, watu wa utafiti, nataka niwaeleze ya kwamba wasiharakishe sana, juu kuna mambo zingine bado wameziacha nyuma nyingi sana. Kwa ground vitu ni different, vile tunaongea hapa sio vile iko kwa ground. 3, Kenya kuna Mombasa kuna bahari kule Turkana pia ipo lake, kule Naivasha pia kuna lake. Nauliza, mmeenda hizo sehemu muangalia kama hii swala la Jaboya pia iko sehemu hizo? Wamefanyaje? Ama iko tu kwa Lake Victoria peke yake? Asanteni.
Thank you very much for all those questions. I'll just summarize them for the team. Swali la kwanza ilikuwa inahusika na mambo ya tax. Tuwalipishe, I think that was the question. Swali la pili ni mambo ya theater. Tunawezaje integrate theater into this solution ambazo ziko na zile hasa zile zenye hizo communities wako involved in. La tatu ni about sustainability question. So sustainability tunaweza hakikishaje kwamba hizi shida tuwe na solutions ambazo ziko sustainable. La mwisho kabisa ni mambo ya when did Jaboya start, but and then ingine ya mwisho I think ni to us, so I'll respond to that, the last one. So why don't we just go around, we'll start with Christine, then Boniface, and then Boniface, and then Melissa. And you just address any of the questions, so you don't have to address all of them. Unaweza tuchagua swali moja ambalo unaweza jibu. So la kwanza ilikuwa juu ya kulipisha wenye wanahusika na hizi tabia ili wakuwe responsible. Alafu la pili ni mambo ya theater, tunaweza tumiaje theater ku reduce hizi shida ambazo ziko kwa lake. Na zingine ni mambo ya kuhakikisha kwamba hata tukipewa boats tunaweza kuendelea na kutumia hizo boat for the longest. Sasa mambo ya sustainability. Na la mwisho ni mambo ya Jaboya tu ilianza lini.
La mwisho naye sijui. Sijui tumeipata kama inaongelewa. Kama naweza ongea juu ya sustainability.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hebu kwa Kiswahili kidogo.
Yeah, sustainability ni kai dona so semio wa pesa mo kata omio wa yedhigo. Ere kaka wanyalo hakikisha ni pod one maber.
Tunaweza hakikisha only if tumejiadhari sisi wenyewe. As in, wabedo joma nyalo take responsibility magik momiwa. Then kwaseka ogi to make use of them. Kwase make use of them to outcome the bedo positive. Only that.
Thank you very much. Boniface.
Okay, when responding about theater, introducing theater, I think this play should be introduced into the curriculum so that children can be taught this in schools, and this one will teach people. Then about tax, I think imposing tax on this Jaboya will create more problems than solution, because after imposing this tax, the guys will say, after coming with the fish in the lake, from the lake, I need to pay tax. After paying tax, they will pay samaki. According to the law of demand and supply, you know, wherever there is high demand, there is low supply, and when there is high supply, there is low demand. This one will create very big problem, more than solutions. So to reduce this Jaboya problem, we've been having it because of, let me say, there's dwindling fish, scarcity of fish. So what we can do, let all the beaches, let's introduce what is called breeding zone. In this breeding zone, we'll have a specialized place where our fish will be breeding without being touched, and after that we'll get a good harvest in the lake. I think that one is a very good solution for that.
Thank you very much. And Boniface, just a brief remark.
Okay. Thank you. On the taxes, I believe for us to curb these menace, we have just to have modern banders, and this will be a cost on the national government and the county government. Once we have modern banders, all the fishermen will ensure that all their produce or catch are taken to the bander where they have the kilos or the weighing machine. They are weighed. After that, they are paying directly. And that is one way also of reducing the power of Jaboya. But when you want to tax Jaboya, I was also looking at on another perspective. You know, these Jaboya also, they are the devils that we have to have them. When we decided to erase them in the system, where will we get the fish? So having heavy penalty on them that will not make them to go fishing will also cause a problem to the beach system. So on the taxation, where we can also have the direct tax is just by making all the beaches to have modern banners, and we have a central place of selling the fish, and that's all. Incorporating the arts, as we were talking, we were in agreement that for us to have a defined role of each stakeholder, we have to have meetings. And these meetings, the art will not have a meeting with an art. Even now we have a meeting, but what makes the meeting to be lucrative is the art. So me, I've accepted it, whether it is being fused in the syllabus, whether it is done at the beach level. I don't have any problem with it. I accept it as yesterday. Now, on sustainability and the when did Jaboya start, I'll have only one answer to it. I'll start with sustainability. This is where we were calling for awareness creation. What do I want to sustain? How do I sustain it? If I lack financial literacy, I'll be taught, and then that will form part and parcel of sustainability. If it is just I don't know where to report my case, I'll be taught and I'll know. So this sustainability must go hand in hand with the behavior change and mindset. My dear friend, you know, we cannot say that if something has been happening, we cannot change it. And I don't want to say that we want to change it overnight. Me also, I believe change is gradual. But resisting to change is what will not make us move. So Jaboya has been there. But if it has been there, what are the implications that are with Jaboya? Do we just continue with Jaboya? And we identify that this Jaboya is one cause of the death that we have. Do we say that let us continue with Jaboya and people are dying? Let us continue with Jaboya and families are divorcing and separating. So I was just requesting whether it has been there, whether the NGOs have not gone to Mombasa or Naivasha, let us start it here as the actors of Siaya, Homa Bay and Kisumu. If we can bring a positive change, it will diffuse to other areas. That's my take.
Thank you very much. Melissa, you have the last closing remark. Just you can pick a question, just one question, and just respond to it. Melissa? Yeah, I think we have a connection issue, so I'll just wrap it up. But before I do that, I just want to answer a question that was directed to the research team, and that's whether we ended up conducting research in other locations. What I'd like to inform you is that this was a pilot project. And being a pilot project, we chose these 3 counties for the time being. And we are working on a large scale project that will even look at other countries that have lakes, rivers, and maybe oceans that are experiencing the same issues. But this was at least to give us some baseline on what are those key issues that we are dealing with. So bado tutafanya kazi and even to other areas. But allow me to just close this session, panelists, but let's give them a round of applause for all the interventions. And back to you, MC Mwizaji basi.
Wapi makofi wanaposhuka jamani. Thank you. We have 3 more items, then we are done. We have Kisumu video, case study 3. Then we have the 3rd panel. Then we have the way forward. Sasa wale wana usingizi, we are about to finish. Some are thinking seriously with their eyes closed. Adults don't sleep in class. They are meditating upon the goodness of the Lord. Kisumu video, showcase 3. Omungo, wewe ndio mtu wetu wa lights.
What happens when the very resource a community depends on can no longer guarantee livelihood? Across Homa Bay County, fishing is more than an occupation. It is a way of life supporting families, businesses, and the entire communities. But when access to fish, market and income becomes uncertain, the effects reach far beyond the lake. They reach homes, businesses, the people whose livelihood depends on the fishery value chain.
Gima kelo chode mang'eny ahinya ni koso pesa mibiro kawo rech koro chuno ni nyaka tam pesa ochiek ka miye rech nono mondo odhi ous.
Challenges makale kaka anduan rech waonge gi capital magonye na mogi rech na to wawaro wane momiyo wabiro sex
For many communities, the challenge is not simply about having fish. It is about having resources, opportunities, and economic power to secure a livelihood. And when those opportunities become limited, vulnerability grows. To understand these realities, community across Homa Bay came together to reflect on the findings around transactional sex for fish. Fish traders, boat owners, fish management unit, and other stakeholders shared their experiences and perspectives. What emerged was a story far more complex than one transaction or one group of people. It is a story about livelihoods, relationship, power, and access.
Come on. Come on. No. No. No.
Behind the conversations are realities that cannot be ignored. Poverty, debt, limited livelihood opportunities, unequal access to resources, and social and gender norms that can shape who has the opportunities and who has the power. For women and young people trying to earn a living, economic insecurity can make it harder to build an independent and sustainable livelihood.
To you go to nyate gin dako nengo ne ng'ato wang'i en mogi nengo ne chuo gi wang'i koro ka ni dini ni ng'at ma okia nengo kata kaka ng'ama ng'ugo kama nitie koro ok iyuda
donde wang'i te nikech wayudo ni gima kelo gini en jo ohala lak capital to nyawea nigi capital Koro ka sirikal ne nyalo kelo ne jo ohala pesa machiegni kata kaka riwruoge kaka sako mag joduto gi mag jo ohala mobedo kamoro achiel ma sama pesa nitiere to kapar ka jo ohala nyalo dhiro botona kata jagoya cha mondo odhi omiye rech nono to kochulo.
The story of Homa Bay is therefore bigger than fish. It is about livelihood, it is about opportunity, it is about power, and it is about the choices people have when economic options are limited. But it is also a story of communities willing to speak, listen, and shape their solutions together. Because meaningful change does not begin with blame. It begins with understanding, it begins with creating opportunities, it begins with strengthening livelihoods and challenging the system that leave people vulnerable. And it begins by putting communities at the center of the solution. Homa Bay is not telling the story of a challenge. It is showing the possibility of a different future.
Wapi makofi jamani. We apologize for occasionally calling Kisumu Homa Bay. Now, you'll also agree with me that of the three counties, Siaya, Homa Bay and Kisumu wanaonekana wako na dough kidogo, wanakunywa mineral water kwa hizo ma group discussion, hata longi zao ni mzuri, zimewaromo vizuri, wanafanya kazi kwa lam. They look like the capital of Nyanza. Thank you. So, in brief, these are the three panels we've held today. The first one was in the morning by Mombua, was this point 1, reactions to the findings. The second that just ended was on point 2, drivers of transactional sex for fish. And the one we are going to now, led by the wonderful Olivia, will be this: responsive solutions and the way forward. And to have this panel, allow me to call on stage the following. From the CSO's network, put your hands together for Jackie. Jackie, come with your water. It gets hot here. Thank you. Asante Jacqueline Milanya. Next is from the county government of Kisumu, Serikal. Wapi makofi ya George Orude. Sasa George na Jackie na mweka pamoja. They are friends now, they are singing together. Asante sana. From the youth who attended the conference, allow me to welcome Shaniz. Wapi makofi ya Shaniz. And finally from Nyamware Beach. Magaji the name Nyiso kako chalo. Put your hand together for David of Nyamware. And of course, to moderate this wonderful discussion, allow me to welcome from Stada, the one and only, with the red-rimmed glasses, Olivia. Wapi makofi ya Olivia. Asante. John ber kaji dhi kendo kaji duogo. Asante sana. Haya. Jackie, shikai. It will be in any order.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Olivia Otieno from Stada, Kenya, and it's such a privilege to be moderating this panel discussion around GBV and transactional sex for fish. Even as we were doing the research, we still have the question of, is transactional sex for fish a form of GBV? And throughout our discussions, we keep on talking about intersection about gender-based violence and transactional sex for fish. So ideally, our panel this evening is just to be able to unpack how gender-based violence and transactional sex for fish are correlated. So with me here is my panel, and I'd love them to introduce themselves. We'll begin with Shaniz.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaniz Ashley from Dunga Beach, a fish trader.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Daniel Okuta from Nyamware Beach. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Milania Jackie. I work with Kefiado. I am a gender and expert and a seasoned policy maker. Plus, I'm a feminist and I'm a movement builder in different aspects. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is George Orude from County Government of Kisumu, Department of Sports, Culture, Gender and Youth Affairs. I'm officer coordinating gender and youth programs.
So thank you so much. I'll go straight to our questions. I'll start with Jackie, who has been in this space for quite a long time, and she's worked around issues to do with gender-based violence. And today we're talking about gender-based violence in regards to transactional sex for fish. And I would ask, what are the key social, economical, cultural, and structural drivers that sustains transactional sex for fish and gender-based violence within the fisher folk community? Of course, highlighting how transactional sex for fish comes out in regards to economic violence and also just sexual gender-based violence. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We live in a very patriarchal society. Women are oppressed every single day, and not only in the fishing industry, but all over. But when it comes to the fishing industry, I've worked with women along the 9 beaches in Homa Bay County and also in Siaya County. That one thing that keeps on coming up is we keep on saying that we want economic empowerment for our women. But the moment you try to give our women the economic empowerment, it's still a male-dominated space. When you look at the beach management unit, it is a male space. When you look at the chiefs around those areas, they are all male. So at the end of the day, when we talk about economic empowerment, we end up losing the value of what should be done. We come up mostly with solutions for the community, but we don't actually ask the community what is the root cause. In 2019 and in 2020 to 2023, as an institution, we were privileged enough to support women with grants, and some wanted cage fish farming, others wanted boats, and others were doing agriculture on tomato value chain and leafy vegetables. But we realized that a lot of women still will go back and face the violence, because even if you have boat, who will be going to the lake? It's the men. If you are to get cages, who are going to go to those lakes are the men. Even if you ask them that you'll give them money for them to do for you the service, all of them will tell you, then go to the lake alone. All we need is sex. So women still have higher chances of being abused. And we have also seen that the policies that are in space still don't favor women, because those policies are still made by men. So it's a biased space. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, and thank you for highlighting some of the interventions that you guys have worked on. So I'll come back to you in regards to that. Shanice, you're a young person who is working in the Bay, and it's good that you're female. When we went back to do the community validations, we had a lot of stories of young people being violated, and because of power dynamics. I'd like you to highlight how power dynamics has contributed to transactional sex for fish, especially power dynamics between a young person and an older person.
Okay, thank you for the question. So as a young fish trader at Dunga Beach, I can say the difference or the challenge that is faced between the younger and the older in the community, it's less compared to other beaches. Like example, in the Dunga BMU, we have the women. They also have representatives in that office, and also in the same office, we have the women, they also take part in decision making. So you'll find that in such a space, you'll find the young women, there is an opportunity that they'll be allocated to. That is, I'm talking about my area, Dunga Beach. So I don't see that there's no that big gap unless somebody doesn't have that opportunity, Ama does not listen to whatever is happening around. But most of the cases, you find that the women in the offices, they are given task, they are given the office too, and also they participate in making decisions toward the beach. Thank you.
Thank you so much for highlighting how women have been involved, especially in decision making. But I'd love to throw the question back to our panelists, and anyone can go. We have had matters of power dynamics, which throughout the conference has been highlighted as a cause for transactional sex for fish. It could be between young people and adults, or men and women. And I'd love us to just highlight how those power dynamics have contributed to transactional sex for fish, and in turn, gender-based violence.
Thank you very much. Allow me first of all to say that no matter the direction of power or exploitation based on gender, according to me, is criminal. From the small drama that we saw here, we saw that young girl who refused to engage in sex for fish. How she was being harassed, body shamed by that guy, Jaboya. So power should not be used to define exploitation whatsoever. That is my stand. Another point is that we are living at a time where moral decay is celebrated as a trend. So, first of all, women or men, whatever the gender, should first of all understand their core values in the society so that we can come up with sustainable and amicable solutions to this menace. Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Orude, do you have a contribution to that? How power dynamics has contributed to transactional sex for fish?
Okay, thank you. I think you have mentioned it, and I'll say that power dynamics is very important in terms of gatekeeping. We have locked all the blue economy into the male gender, and they are strong, so they are gatekeepers. So for any female to join must also knock the door. So as you knock the door, you must also negotiate. So it comes because we have ignored. Actually, today's meeting, while I was seated here, things gives me a lot of how do we program around blue economy and the fish area. And you'll ask yourself, since when? We have been along the lake since I was born. People have gone, the rest are being born around the lake. The lake is our economy. Where are we? What have we been doing in our world? We have been having devolution for now 15 years. And this is the economy that we have. Because of power, and I say that the lake regional economy, I ask this, the contribution of our lake, and it can be shared by our beach chair. How has the lake contributed to our social ills? HIV infection, drug substance abuse, mental health issues, sexual, and all those ills, evils. The contribution of our blue economy and the lake and the positive economy, contribution to the economic development in the terms of 100%, which take the higher percent. Are we sunk because the lake has taken almost 70% dealing with our values and the challenges as opposed to contribute to the economy? If you talk about the business, what is the value, the basic value for somebody who's doing business at that level? So I think we have failed to invest in the economy, and most of the time, the reason why we are not downplay the power, we tend to think about hardware. Then the software investment is ignored. So I go there, build a banda, then I forget about people who are using the banda. So the environment has turned to be almost violation, negative, and all that. And I was told that it's better you go to Kericho to deal with the tea. You'll come back with a box than going into the lake to our island, Yutakoja na Sanduku. So we need to open our mind and discuss this thoroughly and see how we can manage the power dynamics and also empower the women so that they can also expose. And then we talk about alternative. We have the cage fishing around and aquaculture. So we can balance the power. And we talk about governance. Let's also talk about leadership governance around those spaces so that we can talk about two-third and a third in terms of governance in the region so that we can open spaces for our young people to penetrate and reduce the gatekeeping syndrome.
Thank you, Mr. Rude. And I love the fact that you have highlighted power as not just being hardware, but should also be software. And we should shift from looking at it from a hardware perspective. Na kusema kwa wanawake hawawezi kuwa wavuvi. It's only men who can be fishermen and women cannot be fishermen. So to my next question, it goes to Bernard. What makes it difficult, no, David, right? Daniel, sorry. What makes it difficult to prevent transactional sex for fish and GBV at the beaches? And how can we challenge harmful behavior or support survivors at the beach? I'll repeat.
Yes.
So what makes it difficult to prevent transactional sex for fish and gender-based violence at the beach? And what makes it also difficult to challenge harmful behavior or support survivors at the beach?
Thank you very much. Allow me to say that ignorance is very key in this topic. One, somebody is being exploited negatively, and the fact that he or she is very ignorant on his or her rights, the case might go unreported. The case might go unaccounted for. So allow me to point out ignorance as one of the major factors to the implementation of this. Number two, which is very, very predominant, is the aspect of economic vulnerability. Yes. Mwenye njaa hata ukimwambia kuoshe mguu, he or she will do it. So at times, it is very, very painful to absorb this, but it is a fact on the ground. Yes. Now, what was the other aspect?
The other aspect was what makes it difficult to challenge these harmful behaviors, Jaboya. What makes it difficult to challenge it? And what also makes it difficult to support the survivors of GBV?
Well, the other issue was we had some participants talking of the bureaucratic procedures involved maybe in the holding accountable the perpetrators. This case is reported. No one is there to follow up, maybe just on the aspect of ignorance on the necessary procedures or the actions to take. So according to me, I will still turn around to the fact that most of us take it as something very, very normal, while on the other side of the mirror, it is not normal at all. So normalizing sex for fish is very, very key in this aspect. Our people should be taught not to take it normal, but to take it as something very, very abnormal, so that we can have a soft landing site when it comes to the holding into accountable some of these perpetrators. Yes.
Back to you, Shanice. You are the only young person in the panel. No, Nko young at heart, the rest. I would ask, what do you think is the role of young people at the beaches in ending GBV, or how would meaningful engagement of young people in regards to ending GBV and transactional sex for fish look like for you?
Okay, thank you. For me, I think the young people along the beaches or along the lakes, the lakes, they should come up or join up in forming youthful groups or CBO that will help them to speak up, that will make them to air out their challenges that they are facing as youth around that area. So I think there are opportunities for young people when they form a group such as like CBOs. I think they are being aired out easily. They'll be heard easily compared to going alone or fighting this thing alone. So when the youths around that area, they come up together, form the CBOs or work jointly as groups, I think they'll come up with a solution because their voices will be heard, and whatever they say, they'll be assertive with their words. If it's yes, it's yes. If it's no, it's no. Thank you.
So this will just be a follow-up question to your response. Within your beach, have you been able to mobilize youth to form a group? And if yes, are there certain interventions that you've been able to do as young people that some of the beaches can also pick up and go and implement in their beaches?
Yes, I can say there are a few organizations or CBOs that are now working, or the active CBOs that can be reported to these matters, or you can join them. Like we have the DECTA, Dunga Ecotourism and Environmental CBO, that deals with the environment, and they are around the beach, around the lake. So if the youth, they come up with an event or activity, they find it easy to mobilize others. And also for spaces where there are some that are affected, we have the counselors, we have the health centers around that help the affected ones or the ones that having trauma from this. So we have even the churches, they offer solution, they guide and they counsel. Thank you.
So you've highlighted a very critical point about trauma, and part of this panel is to be able to respond on trauma and also survivor-focused response. Jackie, you mentioned that you have worked in different beaches and there are different interventions that you've been able to put in place. How have you been able to handle trauma and make sure that there is survivor-focused responses in the different beaches?
Thank you so much. Trauma is not a one-day event. It's a continuous process. Today, someone might have been raped or coerced to have sex because someone feels the power in them for them to like give you fish so that you can go and sell, of which at the end of the day it affects you mentally, physically, emotionally, and all that, and even economically. And a lot of women have gone through this over the years, and most of them have now become trauma bonded in the event that when we were watching the small skit here, you saw when the other lady said, it's something that is going on. It is a continuous process. That is the only way in. And it shows that even the younger women who come after the older women, they'll go through that because it's a process that has been enabled in the system. So getting out through it is people speaking out about it. Most of the time, as civil society, as government, we are the ones who go there to do research. Then after research findings, we'll call them maybe in such a room and give research findings to the few who are maybe selected to come. And these are leaders maybe, and not the actual people in the ground who's experiencing this violence. So at the end of the day, it's not like it's affecting the leaders, but it's affecting the people who are not leaders back in the group. And what we've been able to do is walk through the journey with the survivors of this violence, because it does not occur once. And it's something we've also realized that once a perpetrator starts perpetrating it, they also tell other perpetrators to come to you. So it becomes an all-round event that they all celebrate. And we've seen a lot of women who have been traumatized of maybe being HIV infected and they don't know how to start. Someone will tell you, I am just a widow. My husband died the other day. He died and he wasn't positive, and I got into being a fishmonger, but today I am HIV positive because of Jaboya. So working with them through the journey, at times we ask them to, as civil society, especially during 16 days, we call them to now come and talk about the GBV they have experienced, but we don't look at what is the psychological trauma that they will have after it. So we are also perpetrators of the same violence that they are trying to get away from. And the solution will be, how do we get policies being implemented or having these policies as acts in different counties at different levels? Because we have the national policy on fisheries, but does it also talk about SGBV at different levels? Thank you.
And thank you so much for highlighting the aspect of policies, which takes me to Mr. Orude. You are the Director for Gender Kisumu County. And we have highlighted, Jackie has highlighted that there are existing policies at the national level. What are the existing gaps that are there in terms of implementation of these policies? And are there Kisumu, now that you're here for Kisumu, are there Kisumu specific policies that you can highlight? And has there been any form of implementation? And if not, what are the gaps?
Okay, thank you very much. In terms of policies and programming around the issues SGBV, national government has made steps to come up with the policies and act. And then they can be applied all over because they are referenced with the constitution. So they can be implemented without counties because it covers national government, it covers the entire Kenya. But again, we also need to embrace domicile the policies at the county level so that it can give us a direct programming and also resource allocation. We cannot allocate resource without a policy being domesticated. Government has done that in terms of blue economy and strategy. And the gap in implementing is that we don't have, we are not enforcing our policies. There's a laxity or a slow march towards implementation. We have laws in Kenya, but the implementation is a gap all over. It's like we are sugarcoating the problems and we know what to do. So we need to look into how do we enforce, even when we talk about the teenage pregnancy. We have the law. Why are we living in a permissive society? You have the police, you have the law, you have the court. Now, is it the community who have failed to identify the perpetrator? If I can ask anybody within the region who can give us the father of a teenage, to date we deal with it. So in ndio utasema hapana wacha na mtoto wangu. But we can deal with that because we did this in Pokot. So we need to implement, come to life, and as we discuss this, we need to come with a tangible solution and make so that we walk the path. As a county, we came up with the gender mainstreaming policy, which needed to coordinate interdepartmental, more so blue economies and agriculture. And I expected even them to be here because we had to discuss, are we programming in agricultural sector, blue economy? What kind of resources do we invest in that? Is what we responsive in terms of resource allocation? And is to what percent is that in terms of economy? We also came up with the sexual and gender-based violence policy prevention, which is SGBV policy 2019. The gap also is now the implementation. And right now it is under review because there are a lot of things under technology facilitated were not incorporated. The policy can be, and the policy document of a goodwill. If you don't have a bill and act, then act without a regulation, you cannot still implement a policy to the letter. So we had a policy without a bill and act, then without an act, we don't have a regulation. So we can't implement a policy. A policy document which can be forgotten, and you cannot enforce that in a court. So that's why today we are struggling to have we are now having a bill in the same under gender and equity bill 2026. And thank God I saw the assembly passed it at the time. So we are going to have an act governing gender equity. Gender mainstreaming, gender and equity bill is going to be an act. Then going forward, within the next 1 month, we are going to do a regulation. And it's good they have infused SGBV into the bill. So we're going to have a robust regulation that is going to implement both SGB, gender, and equity. So if you have that law, then you can walk to the court tomorrow and enforce it through the law. You don't need to say in terms of begging me to do that. But with the policy, I can still ignore. So that has been the gap, that we have been having a policy which cannot be enforced. You cannot enforce a policy in law. So we need the regulation and act to do that. Again, we have been having a strategy, blue economy strategy in Kisumu, but you will find ourselves that for the last 15 years, we have not focused into the lake. And that's why you have left the lake to be just self-governed. It's a lifestyle that we live it. And actually, all criminals that were escaping from the mainland were going to the lake. They are there in the lake. And I can give a testimony with the Dunga. Before Dunga was opened, I could trace some of the criminals to the Dunga beach. So lake zone is a lake of crime. We need to change that pole because and then the way we say in Luo, Janam Ongyoge Pierre Wadi, unajua hiyo ni language. But that one alone says that we don't care. Huh? We don't care, we can interact, we don't see that one is an evil, it's a crime. I can molest you, it goes like that because it's our normal life in the lake. So we need to ask ourselves, how do we perceive ourselves in terms of the lake region? Is the lake economy contributing? And I was asking how many of us who are professors from the lake, did they learn around the lake or they went to study elsewhere, then they come back? So the lake environment must be focused. So in terms of policy gaps and regulations, we need to work along that, and then we need also to look at the economic empowerment element that we have talked about. So the reason why we still have a problem in terms of allocating empowerment funding to women is that I cannot do it without a law. So if we have that law, can give us a solution to have women empowerment fund. We couldn't do it, but because we want to do a regulation. Then we also inherited a fund from national government by then called Trade Fund. Trade Fund was inherited and we have not changed it. The condition is if you want to get access to the fund, you must give a title deed, a collateral. A woman has no collateral, a youth has no collateral, PWD has no collateral. So it's like we are giving you money, then we close it. My CC talked about access to resources. I'll tell you, we were the people who advocated for the youth fund when we were young. It came, the first lot given the money, all of them defaulted. Then they brought now regulation to govern how people can access this fund. It was our behavior again. It was free money without any collateral. But how we behave with the money is how the money was ring-fenced with conditions. So conditions make us not access the money. They are there, youth fund, women fund, all those funds are there. But then between the fund and your position and how you're prepared to access the fund is the gap now. I'm giving the fund, I don't prepare you. I don't give you structures, platform, which you need to have to access the fund. Still, I'm closing the fund. So we need to invest in development. If at all development about skills, structures like groups, we register them, we legalize them. Then we build your capacity to manage the group dynamics. Then you also, now that's when I prepare you now to access the revolve. So that's the gap in terms of our values and system. So we need to think about what are we doing into the space of the blue economy, fisheries. And when we talk about fish for sex, this is not limited to sex alone. We have a lot of sex for everything and within outside this. There are so many which we'll talk about later. After there was water for sex in ours. So this sex for everything we call it sex for economy. It's not limited to this. So when we talk about sex, fees for sex, I think we need to find a lever in terms of policy. And we talk about why is it not possible for us to prevent. We have never invested in terms of preventive measures like the SGBV. We need also to develop a desk into all our beaches. And what has helped me in this meeting today, we have a gender sector working group at the county level, but we agree that we are going to do sub-county gender sector working group. And one key thing that I picked, that one of the members must be there, is a beach leader representative. Like we have the border. So there are key people which must be involved, because if you leave the entire beach out, then we need to think about that. Then in our SGB policy that we are going to review, we need to talk to the blue economy and include all those that we talk about in terms of sanitation, gender desk reporting, champions within the beach, so that we can report. And also, we need also to talk about the data and look at the medical response. We have the medical, but again, as we do development, we usually go to public participation, but we miss this particular team mostly. When we go there in the lake, sometimes they are tired, they are sleeping. So you'll find the proposal comes from the mainstream, but not focus on the beach. In the beach, they'll talk about banders and full stop. And then when you talk about software investment, our government has refused to go that direction. They want tangible. Even our assembly here, they'll talk about roads, buildings, ECDs. But you talk about we need to invest in life skills, capacity building, behavior change, so that we can change the entire paradigm of our thinking. So that's where we have gone wrong.
Thank you so much. You have highlighted part of the solutions that were supposed to come up from this panel discussion. I'll go back to Daniel. I'd like to highlight an instance of a story that we got in some of the beaches. There was one beach where they mentioned that if you want to do any sales within that beach, you have to sleep with a member of the BMU, and they call it like kuonjwa, like nyakabili, yeah, lazima ni kuonje. And throughout the conference, we've also had instances where BMUs have been not really portrayed, but they've come up to not have very strong constitutions, or not to take action for the perpetrators within the beaches. And I will ask, what are some of the existing gaps at the BMU level, and what kind of support do the BMUs need to effectively be able to take actions in matters gender-based violence?
Thank you very much. First of all, allow me to say that one of the gaps that we have within the BMUs is lack of strong laws to govern some of these issues. And that is why I'm calling upon most of our BMUs that in our bylaw drafts, let us incorporate this aspect of GBVs. For example, a case study in Nyamwari BMU, within the executive committee, we have a special committee that is tasked with the role of checking on the issues GBV, people living with disabilities, the youths, and the vulnerable. So it is incorporated within our bylaws. We have the necessary actions to be taken in case we have any other such kind of cases. So that is a gap in other beaches. And the other one is lack of flexibility. You find that an action that can suit Nyamwari maybe cannot suit another beach in maybe Migori or Homa Bay, depending maybe on socioeconomics or maybe geopolitics. So we lack flexibility within the whole setup. That is also an issue. So another gap is lack of proper engagement with the stakeholders. A case is reported within a BMU setup. It is locally solved. The police are not informed. Maybe the civil society are not aware. So there's that communication gap which is also a very, very big problem within the BMUs. Another gap my friend was talking about are issues like lack of biomedical interventions within the BMU setups. One has to go a long distance maybe to seek medical health or psychosocial support, psychiatric interventions. So that is a very, very big gap within the BMU setup that, if well addressed, will curb some of these issues within the beaches. Yes.
Thank you so much. Quickly moving to Shanice. What are some of the interventions that can be done within the beaches to empower young people to have a voice, but also to create change around gender-based violence, especially at the beaches that contribute to transactional sex for fish?
So thank you. One of the intervention that should be done to help the youth along the beaches, I think they should be given access or creating awareness to them that whatever action that is happening, it's not safe and it's not right. And if they are involved, there are some charges, or there are some health-wise they are going to be affected. Another thing that should be done, the youths or those that are already traumatized, or the ones that are survivors from this case, they should, especially the youths or the women, they should be allocated, or there should be a psychosocial support where they are physically trained, they are physically informed on the issues that happen to them. They are being taught, or they're being told the solution they should be done, and also they should be given a priority. In this case, the blame should not be on the survivors or the traumatizers. The blame should be on the perpetrators, and this should go hand in hand to the whole community, that when this incident happens, or when we find these cases, the perpetrators are the one to pay, not the survivors or not the traumatizers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we take it up to the audience, I'd love to ask Jackie the last question. You have talked about some of the interventions that you implemented in the different beaches. What we'd like to know is what were the interventions? Maybe if you can repeat the interventions that you guys took up. What worked, what did not work, and what can we do differently?
Our first intervention, we had a consultant who went around the beaches to find women groups and asked them what they wanted to be done. And most of the women groups had their own ideas on what they want. Others wanted cage fish farming, others wanted to do crop, and others wanted boats, so that they can also have their own boats to harvest omena and to also harvest fish. And even for cage fish, they wanted to harvest their own because of the violence that they had experienced. And most of these women were widows. What worked is we actually engaged them from the onset. They had their own solutions in the process. What did not work for us is these other groups were not original groups. They were not these women groups. They were groups that were just formed during the process. And when we started giving out the grants, and after we had given out grants about after 6 months, we realized that these were nascent groups. And they were male dominated. And a lot of men took those money and ran away with the money. So that was a loss. But out of the 15 groups that we were able to engage, 9 in Oma Bay and 6 in Siaya, I will say to date we have 7 groups that are actually doing well In Siaya, we have a group of women who, from their boat business that they started they wanted from the onset, they have been able to buy more boats. They have bought land, they have built, and they have now employed other people. They're also part of the beach management unit, something that was not actually happening. They are currently also having tenders with the government at different levels. For Homa Bay, we've also seen a lot of groups doing government tenders because of the empowerment that they received and also what they knew, what they wanted. So at the end of the day, it's sitting down with the community and telling them to get their own solutions. And from the videos that we've been able to see today, we've seen community members telling us the solutions. But community will always ask for resources for economic empowerment. And for us, we were asking them, from what you want to get, how much do you have? So that whatever they have, you can actually top it up for them. You will not entirely give them the resources, because when you give, you'll realize that at the end of the day, you will go at a loss and it will not help the community that much. Yeah. So I think for now, it's still a work in progress for everyone who wants to engage people from the fishing industry. Yeah.
I think from what you're saying, you are highlighting mostly community-owned solutions, letting the community be part of the solutions to come from the community and them being able to contribute to that solution. So over to the audience, any questions before we come back to the panelists?
Thank you for the opportunity. First of all, I'd love to appreciate the commendable work that the research team has done. It's an amazing job. So my question is majorly directed to Jackie. We've been talking about initiatives, or rather the interventions that we are looking for to eliminate the transactional sex for fish. And while at it, I believe there are these people that are already doing the transaction. So how do we ensure that these interventions do not, how do I put it? The interventions do not stigmatize them, because they are already there. And at the end of the day, we don't want to look at them as outcasts per se. And we want to support them in one way or another, because they are one of us. We don't want to restrict them from the fishing livelihood. So how do we support them? Because they have already done it.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So my question is this. I have two questions. Apart from the claim for negligence, what will be the main reason or the main cause that will hinder the women suffering or experiencing the beyond sex for fish to go to the 10th floor prosperity tower the way Mheshimiwa Farida said, and maybe register a group of 10 the way she said? What will be the main reason to hinder them? And my second question will be, I've been hearing people talking about the fish ponds and starting fish ponds to ensure that the women in the fishing industry don't have to go to the so-called the joboya. So if for example, all the partners beyond sex for fish would maybe gather and maybe start something like big fish ponds under their projects, their various projects, do you think that this fish should be given to these women for free, or maybe a fish will be imposed on how they get the fish, and would they be willing to pay the fees that maybe may cater for the maintenance of these ponds? Thank you.
Thank you for that amazing panel. I'll go straight to the question. I think as the research has shown, but also the discussions that we are having here has also, or the discussions have shown, that this is a long-term issue. It's a systemic issue that will still be here for a very, very long time. I think that's the reality. So I'm just wondering, for those who engage in these practices, or those who have been engaging in these practices, so how can we ensure that they are safe? So what are those, how can we create safe spaces for these women so that despite the situation, they're still, they'll be able to provide for their families and I guess engage in these practices, but safely. Thank you.
Perhaps the last two.
Okay, thank you. Mine is just one question. GBV is rampant, both in Kisumu County and Homa Bay. And the solution that we've always talked about is empowering women. Are these women educated on how to own these empowerment programs? Can we empower them to own the empowerment programs? Because we can provide boats, we can provide the cages, but they can still leave them to their husbands and the boyfriends. Then just to connect to that, I wanted to ask this question in the previous panel, but just allow me to shoot it here because it can still be answered. Can the BMU units employ fishermen so that they can fish and they be paid their fishing costs? Then the fish are being sold at a central place by the BMU community. I don't know if that is practical, so that we take the power from the what? From the buyers. Yes, so we just pay them for fishing, then they give us the fish, then we sell the fish to the women. Is that practical? Thank you.
Finally, Bernard.
Yes, this is to Jackie. You have said that you work with some women. Yesterday, there was a question that, or a concern, that there are some, even if we buy the boats for the women, they will still use the men as the captain to, they call them mother. Yes. And then it was said that there are some mother who they catch a lot of fish, and these women want them in their boats, and this still come back to, can you sleep with me so that I will go with your boat? So with the people you are working with, have they come up with a solution for this? And if it's there, you can share with some of the BMU leaders who are here to implement.
Thank you so much. There was a first question from the lady, I don't remember your name. Intervention and stigma for perpetrators. Once you are a perpetrator, you have broken the law. And the one who is always stigmatized, it's always the survivor. The perpetrator will walk scot-free and chest stamp himself because they feel like they have done something great. And for me, I'll say we should not be enablers of violence. If someone is a perpetrator, let it go straight to the relevant authorities. Let it go straight to court. I know most of the time for Luo community, we say Tuolo Donjeko. And at the end of the day, if the perpetrator was the father or a relative of the woman or the girl who has been defiled or the mother who has been raped, we let it slide. And I wouldn't say a perpetrator receives stigma. No, they don't. The survivors.
Maybe let me just highlight her question. She talks about women who have been part of the Jaboya system, and how do we ensure that the interventions that we are having don't continue to stigmatize them?
I think that is why we were saying it's important for us to have policies and acts in place that can be used. Because at the end of the day, we might talk about policy at national level. And just as Mr. Orude has said, policy without an act and a bill can never be implemented. You will not even take county government to court and say this policy is not being implemented. And but because at national level we have in the fisheries policy, we've seen them talking about GBV. And this is something we should continue having advocacy. A continuous advocacy, not a one-off thing when just CSOs are having resources, we go do one or two things, then come back, give feedback. It should be a continuous process so that at the end of the day, everyone is called out for their bad behaviors and these women are getting justice. Because at times justice is delayed and it is never denied. Yeah. He has asked about women who have maybe the boats and they end up also being perpetrators. So far for the groups that we've been able to work with, that one has not come out. We've not heard about it. And I think the reason is most of these women became part of the management at the beach level. So, and because we had previously engaged them in economic empowerment program and also talking to them about SGBV and all that, they were able to understand how the system works. So when they got into the leadership position, they got their voices back and they were able to talk about anything that is happening that was not comfortable, they were not comfortable with. And they have been able to also recruit more women into this space. You know, we were always told that women cannot have boats, but remember, a boat is always named after a woman. And the first person to sit on a boat before it goes to the lake, it's always a woman. So women have the power. And I heard this morning someone say women should not be the one going and rowing the boat in the lake. The women that we work with, they go with the boat to the lake and they harvest fish and come back in the morning just as their men counterparts. Yeah, so it's a best practice for us.
Yes, allow me to respond to a question on whether BMUs can employ crews to go and fish. So, be informed that the lake as a natural resource, nobody claims ownership. The BMUs are only gatekeepers. They are co-managers. And therefore, they do not have the constitutional mandate to employ somebody to go fishing. Remember, within the BMU setup, we have 4 pillars. We have the fisherman, we have the boat owner, we have the trader, and then we have other stakeholders. Among the 4, nobody claims ownership of the lake as a natural resource. But the fisherman can go and fish in any boat within the BMU so long as there is agreement between him and the boat owner. He is at liberty to fish in any of the boats so long as the terms favors him. And therefore, you don't even need a passport to go and fish in Mombasa or Malindi. So this is a natural resource. Nobody has the power to employ somebody to go and fish on his behalf.
Thank you for that. Shanice, maybe you can respond to the question about women being able to register the groups. What are the hindrances? What is it that is stopping them from going to register the groups that they are in?
Okay, first I think the number one hindrance is the lack of information. They're not informed, or they don't have the access to these funds. Don't have the knowledge that these funds are there, and they don't know the right procedure to follow in order to get these funds. Another challenge is once they've been allocated these resources, you find this mismanagement of these funds. So you find they start well, but at the end of it, there's no positive outcome from the allocation. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So any of the panelists can take this up. There was a question around women being able to contribute when they are given ponds. Are they supposed to contribute a certain money, maybe to help with the sustenance of the ponds, or even with the buying of the fish? Yeah.
Thank you very much. The first question was about the 10th floor at Odoma Center. Actually, it has been a challenge that we don't have a lift at that point, and we have aggressively protested and engaged the commissioner, because that one is national government property. So they are working on that to repair, but that alone, because you don't work there to register, you can do it at the sub-county level. We don't need to make our journey nice, that we identify with sub-county officers, and now they can take it to where you are. So I think we need just to arrange, map ourselves, then we connect our women for the registration. Women and the ponds, the agriculture, the value chain, we do a budget for pond development and installation. Actually, for the last 2 years, we give fingerlings. We even rear them somewhere for the seed. We can advance you money for the development of the pond. So if we agree that we need to open up the value chain system, that will be part and parcel of our budgetary processes, so that we can empower women. It is possible and doable. We only need to make sure that we actively demand that this year that should be our way forward, and we increase gender responsive budgeting towards the blue economy to address that. And that's why I'm saying that out of our 15 billion budget, how much is going to the blue economy? So we need to measure that and add our department to focus in those areas. Then there was an issue with SACCO. You mentioned something about, are we able to buy fish from we buy fish from the fishermen, then we sell it to the community or the women. It's possible. But actually, they trade as an entire SACCO cooperative design, which you can make the BMU become cooperators, so that they buy from the fishermen, they put it as stock. Then we now reduce the issue of jaboya and gatekeeping. So now it becomes the issue of the government and stakeholders now selling to the community. We shall have done by the boy away from that. It's possible, doable. Let's go cooperative. Let's go SACCO way, and to make sure that we improve the laws that they have mentioned, to incorporate those ways, so that we get the fish, we sell it. We don't wait for it, so that we store it as a government. Then we go the value chain. So nobody will be gatekeeping for jaboyism. Then the last one was about are we empowering women? And he has mentioned something about, I got that from one person from Nairobi. It's a researcher from Nyakach. They said they were giving women votes and all those. Kumbe, they didn't know they were not solving nothing towards sex for peace. They will still continue their normal life. So they have normalized sex, whether you need peace or not. So we need to empower them to understand that, is it possible that if we can empower a woman, and then apart for you to go to court and win, there must be somebody willing to report. Are we able to say that now I've been violated? Are we able to identify those, and then we report to the desk, then we take the case at that point, or you are now managing yourself, and then we're talking about your boy. So is it that, are we willing to involve even our target community to walk the path with us, or it is now us talking to them, they are not within that range? But I'll say that we need to involve males. We need to go get Jaboya to come here and then we talk to them so that we change their mindset and their behavior. So if you talk about a woman, then you talk about the man, you talk about a girl child, you talk about the boy child, we still have teenage pregnancies. So you need to engage male in this debate and tell them why. And actually the best way to do a campaign is tell your boy, kama bibi yako ndio inakuwa naenda namna hii, your daughter, your mom, your grandpa, how will you feel? So you change the narrative debate. But kama nikuona kama lady, a woman, then I'll say continue, but take it all round. If your wife is doing this, it's being done on the same notice, how will you feel about it? So that we can have conversation and behavior change can be real, then we need to engage. But I'll urge also the government. We have ignored the space for long. We have taken time to invest in the lake. Let's open up the lake to become cities. It will also bring other people who are with good minds so that we can deal with them. But if we refuse to invest, then we'll be leaving the power for within the range of either 2 or 3. Let's open up our beaches. Let's invest. Let's bring lighting system, all this infrastructure. So everybody will be dealing with the system. So we'll be breaking the nut of the jaboya towards our reduction of the sexual business.
So there was the last question around creating safe spaces. How can we ensure that those already involved in transactional sex for fish are safe, and how can we create these safe spaces for them? So anyone can go, and as you respond, you can also give us your parting shot.
Thank you. So number one thing to ensure that the survivors are safe, as our director said, that we should build the safety desk. Like in each and every beach, they should install a safety desk where you report these cases. You know, once you report the cases, you are very confidential. The information is very confidential, and you'll have that courage to report, because you are sure that when you report this matter, it will reach to the police, it will reach to the safe place, and justice will be served. Another thing to create a safe space for these survivors is by being confidential about the information that they give us. Because once they give you the information, they narrate the story to you, then you anchor them, they'll see themselves online. You see, it will still diminish their character, it will still lower their standards. So once they come out and they speak up, we should have that confidential in their information, and we should keep it safe. Another thing that we should encourage them and we should embrace them, that whatever happened, it happened for that season, and we encourage them more, give them space to the society, and also welcome them to other opportunities. Thank you.
Any parting shots?
So my parting shot is that I love to encourage women, and also the ones that are starting or they are looking for employment. They should start in the space they are having. They should not be ashamed because that fishing is bad. No, they should start with where they are, and they should be assertive. So let not fear take that thing that you have from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanice.
Thank you very much. I think to ensure safety, one, we have to ensure our members of their values. Let us make them understand that their values hold. To me, that is the safest way possible to restore confidence in them, that they are human enough. Jaboya issue is not a death sentence, and therefore we embrace them. That is safe enough. Now, my parting shot is that we can we can help reduce this menace, though we cannot wipe it out completely, but we can help reduce it, one, by being very positive about it, by hearing things out in the open, and by instilling moral values, especially to the younger generation, by being role models and champions to the community around. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My parting shot will all be, at the end of the day, it all begins and ends with us. We might be the perpetrators, or we might be the people who are coming out with solutions. Solutions will come from us. If we want to enable Jaboya issue, it will go on forever. And if we want to stop it, we'll stop it, because government and CSOs are not always there kwa lakes azote when this violence is happening. The people who are from the lake, they are the ones who know what is going on, and they need to also call out each other, especially men. Men wenye ni Jaboya, please call out your fellow men who are perpetrators of violence. Because we are not the ones to come out and call out your men. Yeah. Asante.
Thank you. I think we have talked about safety. We need to give protection, and all our beaches will be closer to our police station for safety. And then we also need to draw near to health facility around those areas so that they can be checking their status. They can also be getting counseling the way you have mentioned. They can also have what is called recovery units, because we have not done good enough in the county, but we are planning to do all sub-county recovery center and even safe houses so that we can place them. And again, we talk about protection and exploitation. We need to. I used to do also campaign within the lake, even up to the island, and we were installing condoms within the spaces. I don't know, kama siku hizi bado mko na condoms. But in those condom alone, but we need also to see how we can protect ourselves in case we are addressing this. So I think we need to invest and talk about all beaches will be having lights, because it talks about security, and then we make sure that sanitation is addressed. My parting thought is, from the organizer of this particular program, as a county, it is about planning and policies. And this is now our 15th CIDP. We are going to have the 4th edition. I feel this meeting, this house will have a conversation on how do we want the CIDP 4th edition to look like as we address this? What are the programs areas that we need to include in our CIDP? And I think I can lead that conversation so that we enrich our CIDP and our programming. Without doing that, we are going to leave it out. And I want to engage, I'll call upon you now to engage our incoming governors. What are their manifestos? Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, and Migori. We need to think about how long shall we take to have even a processing plant here, if we talk about value chain. Did they forget, or is it structural? If you can insist that without clear blue economy policy and manifesto, we cannot. That's now governance debate. Are we engaging them in terms of their policies? If a governor is coming to Kisumu, what about the blue economy investment? Governor Yasiaya, blue economy investment. And now we have the Lake Region Economic Block. What are we doing? What are the vision of the blue economy block? I said it housed here. What are their vision? They were to have even the Lake Region Bank. And that one could be giving us low access to resources and low financing. That one has not been realized. But what about investment? The take-off system throughout the industrial, so that we can enrich the value chain from fishing, processing, transport, manufacturing, export, so that we can walk the path and get people away. You know, we are struggling with Jaboya because our women in business, they want to do business. If you can create alternative, they'll buy fish at the market center for just diet only. That's why we talk. If you get alternative, they don't scramble to do business with the fish now, but they'll buy fish for only meals, but not for business. So we need to open up the value chain and we invest in that. It's long time. We need to pick and drive ourselves. Then lastly, I still feel from counties, Kisumu, I think we are going to incorporate the BMUs into our gender sector working group, and then we have in the village unit, and then we can have reporting system, and also do campaign to that direction.
Thank you so much. Maybe as we end, I'd love to highlight one of the recommendations that I think cut across all the beaches that we went to do the validation, since there's the issue of stigma and discrimination that has come up. To all the partners in the room, the Fisher folks requested that for the partners that are doing interventions at the Lake region to kindly integrate the aspect of mental health in your interventions, so that then they're able to deal with both stigma and discrimination that arise as a result of transactional sex for fish. Otherwise, thank you so much, our panelists. Makofi kwa panelists wetu. Asante.
Thank you very much. Wapi makofi wanapoenda. And now to the last item of the day, call for action. I'm sure Josia Moko Suwuk, yo my baby, go to Laro Kindu Sani, but you guys are still here. We thank God for your lives. Here are the 4 main actors. Here are the 4 main actors. And you are in one of them. Tear off a piece of paper from your acacia notebook. You have kept them in the bag to give your PP2 son or daughter. Now, you're either a fisher folk, that is a boat owner, a fishmonger, or a BMU member. You're either a young person, lady or gentleman. You're either a fisherman mwenyewe, a madar, a jaboya, or just a youth around the beach. You're either a policy maker, Jojo Rude, you work for the county government, you are a chief, you are a Jadungweng, you are a Okebe, you are a Gulmama, you are a Mijikumi, and many others. Or you're a practitioner, you're a CBO, you're a civil society organization, or you're an NGO. Hapa, najua watu wako kama hao. Just write 1 or 2 things. Then Sharon will come around and just speak. The piece of paper, then Carol will make final remarks, and then we'll be out of this place. So, thank you, Sharon. Carol Odera of Wise Hub. It's been nice having you. Please, just come and say a few words as Sharon collects. Just one call for action. One call for action from each and every sector. Thank you. Sasa unaanza, kama wenye hapo naandika tu 1 na unaweka point yako. Kama wewe ni youth, 2 na point yako. Kama wewe ni policy maker, 3 na point yako. Kama wewe ni CSO, CBO, NGO, 4 na unaweka point yako. That's all. So Sharon will have them in 4 groups. So either Sharon can pick all the 4 or can have 4 people. Wewe ni chukua. Thank you, Sharon. Carol, give your closing remarks, and if possible, yes. Carol achukue kidogo kwanza. Let's give them 2 minutes. DJ, weka hiyo ubago ja rumba as we finish. Thank you. Anaitwa Prince Inda. And that reminds me, there was a question. The person was not brave enough to come forward. They were saying that the content in Ohangla music should be censored. Some Ohangla music have explicit content. Is it true? There's a song called Padei. See, if you are a Padei person, do this. There's another one that was sung by the Diggy Diggy man later. He sang another one. So I want to do what? I want to do you. Things like that. So some of these pieces of music, when it started with the Chwadegi Nyundo, we laughed and thought it was a joke. When the guy was called to the studio, I was saying, when you are building a house, hold kama, kaita make kama, and they're just joking. I don't want to do it on a uongo. So Sharon, thank you for collecting the papers, and Carol. Yeah, let's have the lectern here for the optics. Gabi ameenda kwa hivyo tufanye na wewe. Into media, mnajua best place for maximum exposure. Thank you. Carol, closing remarks, a vote of thanks on behalf of Wise Hub and STADA and all partners and organizers. Karibu sana. Wapi makofi ya marathoner Carol Odera. This injury was received from a marathon. Thank you.
Hey, I invite you guys to join me in the next marathon so that we can all experience the injury. No? Okay, for 7 months. But anyway, so thank you very much for staying with us until this hour. Today is Friday, and people are supposed to be closing work early enough and traveling to Chicago. But thank you. This shows that we are all committed to this cause, right? Yeah. We are very sorry for the CIA team and Homa Bay because we had to make them leave to catch up with the bus. But the discussion has been very fruitful, successful for me. I've learned a lot of insights, and for now, I think we are all making a commitment. We're looking forward for this. This is the first conference for Beyond Sex for Fish conference. Or there is any that has happened before in Kisumu? Anyone? Is there a conference like this that has ever happened in Kisumu? Nope. So this is the first time. And these things have always happened. Researches have been there, findings have been there, but people don't talk about it because I think we're also stigmatized in a way. Cindy, we don't talk about these things, but I love this conference because you're able to talk about things as they are and the realities on the ground. So thank you very much for opening up. So we look forward to having this conference annually. This was in August. But let's see if we can maintain it in August or before the year ends. Sawa. So I'm just giving you a Mokenya for call to action. Partners. And you should learn from this. The people who brought this together were those partners, if you can project them. We have 5. St. Paul's, there is Pegasius Institute, there is WISE, and there is TADA. And this was funded by Canadian government through the New Frontiers Research Institute. So we are all working. It's not like a one-man person fundraising for all this thing to happen. Cindy? So even as we write our call to action, please. Right now, people are talking about forming consortiums and working together so that we can get bigger money to do bigger things. Cindy? So this sex of fish, we've talked about it for many years. But I think everyone has been, fundraising alone. People are working solo, right? To try and find a solution. But imagine if you're supposed to work all together as partners in Kisumu, in all beaches, and then we approach, say, Canadian governments, with now the finding the research. Si tutapata kitu? Sindio? Mbona amuitiki? Sindio? Yeah, so let me see that in the call to action, and then we can even to make it better, even write you the name of the organization and see if you want to partner with us. So that next time, it will be glad to see a partnership from this conference calling us for the Sex of Fish conference so that we partner. Cindy? And that is the way it should go. So I don't want to talk much. Today is Friday. I want to say my vote of thanks to these people. The reason why WISE is here, and you've seen from the research, the economic empowerment was ranked #1. Cindy? Yeah? Yes, and then there is also health. That is why STADA is here. So we're not just in this research for a joke or to make money. I mean, there's no money, but the fact that we have a research and our names are there and we have people on the ground, that makes a lot of sense so that we can be able to use that research to fundraise to solve for these interventions. So WISE actually, this sex for fish is actually key to my heart. Because if you go back I want you to go to WISE Hub, WISE Hub, the website, and read about the founder message and why WISE was found. It is because sex of fish. because I went to school because my mom used to be a fishmonger. So, and I think everyone here went to school because of fish. Cindy, even the people in the community. So we're not just here we're just here for a conference. This is a matter that touches our lives. Sawa. So without further ado, I just want to thank the Canadian government through the New Frontiers Research for making this happen, together with the partners, the researchers. Philip, in my other life, I want to be a professor. Where is Philip? Professor Philip. So next time I'm addressing you, should be Professor Carol Odera. Yes? So partners, researchers, and STADA and WISE for making this happen. So all these researchers were outside. STADA and WISE ndio wamekuwa wa ground. So STADA and WISE has made sure that everyone is dressed, everyone is comfortable, kila mtu amekula, si ndio? Na kila mtu amepata transport, like everything you see here ni watu wa ground, si ndio? So let's build watu wa ground so that things are made possible. County government, of course, the CEC has left by Orude, Director Gender. This has been so successful because of you showing the goodwill and being here with us until this moment. We appreciate your presence. The beaches represented by the BMUs, if you're still here, Dunga and other beaches, I'm not very sure. But we appreciate your presence, even for being part of this study, for even allowing us to talk to your community. The community at large, you are here, and maybe some have left. We appreciate your presence and commitment to this study. And all the partners we invited from WISE and STADA, we invited our partners that we work together with. We appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you together in fundraising for more of these courses to solve this menace that we have. So all the NGOs and CBOs, we appreciate your presence and partnerships. To the media, we thank you very much. You guys have been, you've seen the videos of nice, India. Yeah, the photos. So I believe everyone, tutatuma emails and photos links, India. Yeah, so at least, usi struggle sana kuchukua photo na nini. Inaitwaje, simu inaitwaje? Yeah, don't worry. We will send you your photos on a Google Drive, quality photos. So we thank you very much, the media team. The entertainers, the dancers have left, but the skits, guys, all those were very informative, right? Yeah, so we're not supposed to go to conferences and see it without entertainment, and we don't even learn from them. So thank you very much for crafting that and making sure that the message is delivered. Yeah. And finally, the hotel, even if they're not here in absentia, but I hope they're listening. The hotel was offered everything and made us comfortable, right? And we appreciate. So thank you very much, Homa Bay, Kisumu, and Siaya. Next time we have this conference, we hope to go back to Homa Bay, just in case we won't have goons after the election. Or maybe we go to Siaya. Yeah, but I want to finish this year by saying I want to hand it back to the MC, but as we leave, I think there is some logistics, so someone should be able to get ready with their reimbursement and release people, because it's a Friday and people have to enjoy the weekend. See you next. I think in the next 2 weeks, CEC is not here, but Kisumu will be having a Kisumu Street Trade Fair, and WISE is a key partner. I am not really sure if we will have people showcasing fish innovations. That will be so unfortunate, because we have talked a lot about fishing communities. But that is what we should work towards, so that when we are having street fairs in Kisumu, we are showcasing fish innovations and people coming to eat fish. Cynthia? Yeah, so that is a food for thought for us all. And Omena is our brand. Yeah, imagine. So I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to see fish that we can buy packaged vizuri. Sawa. Thank you very much and God bless you all.
Walisema wahenga kwamba hakuna kisicho na mwanzo kinachokosa mwisho. Just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone was given a kikapu of goodies. Sasa dinos off. mtu ameipa na kikapu ya dinozofa hapa. Sasa tafadhali, kama umechukua kikapu, ile ni yangu. Kama umechukua kikapu ya Dino, go to the organizers, they'll give you another one, Moira. Allow me to say there's tea just outside there, and Caro and Stada, they were whispering to me that, sasa hii video ya Homa Bay tutapata, hii ya Siaya. I think each BMU